Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Dream Do Done One-ish on a Monday afternoon. If you only knew what we go through to make sure that we're here one-ish every single Monday. It's the last Monday of June. We are literally almost halfway through the year 2020, and this has been a year. So I know some people like fast forward to 2021.
Hey, listen. How about July just coming with sense? I mean, we're not talking. It's just been a year. It's been every month. It's something new. So I'm praying that July.
Clearly, it's been more than an ocean. But we are here and we're holding it down for our sister, who literally only thing that could keep her from being on air is the fact that she's in the sky. So she is not able to join us today, but she's sending her love to everyone. And we appreciate those of you who've been tuning in to Dream Do Done so this is our 1.5 year anniversary. If half of 2020 is gone, it's our 1.5 year anniversary that we have been here providing information, resources, and a little comedy for you. And Dream Do Done, it's a process going to get to your progress, right? There's a space in between. A lot of people like to jump over the space. You can't jump over the space. It's a part of it. And today is actually my Independence Day. This is when I celebrate my Independence Day, June 29th. Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
When I stepped out on faith to start running my business full time, even though along the way I jacked it up a couple of different iterations. But God is good.
Hey,
I'm still here.
Not only is God good, He has sustained you. So I'm waving the victory.
Oh my goodness.
Am I good?
Okay. All right. Now you are. For a minute there, you were going. I was like, wait, I can't hear you cheer. I need to hear the cheers. I need to feel it. Hallelujah.
What I was going to say is that I'm so grateful God has sustained you. That is more than anything else. And even if you bump your head along the way, as all of us have, that He has sustained you. You've learned your lessons and you've moved on. And you're blessing so many people. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not been on the prayer call, you are missing it. Friend Stacie can pray you from wherever you are in the pits. She can get you all the way out and give you a brand new outlook on life. And so I'm so grateful that you are still here and still standing, and your business is thriving.
God is good. I thank God. It's definitely been a journey. And for those who haven't been here before, just so you know who you're talking to, this is the Pulpit Chic, Serena Travis, and we have the how-to coach, Tamara Hartley, who is joining us invisibly today because she's flying on her way back home. And my name is Dr. Stacie N.C. Grant, the Chief Faithpreneur. The three of us joined this collaboration of creating Dream Do Done. And it really is our private conversations that we made public, because we strategize, we talk with one another, we find best practices, we share information, and we said, hey, let's do this in a broader way, because I know it's helping us, it's blessing us, we're able to move and pivot and thrive. And how about sharing that with our communities, so all of us are able to connect with one another and be able to provide that sort of value to our different networks as we continue on this Dream Do Done weekly series, one-ish every Monday afternoon Eastern Standard Time. So let's get into today's show, and then we'll shout out those of you who are able to join us. We thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing the broadcast. But there's a lot going on in the world. And it was interesting this weekend. I had the blessed opportunity to be a part of organizing a Queen's Juneteenth celebration. So by now, everybody who didn't know about Juneteenth, with all the press that Juneteenth received, everybody should know what Juneteenth represents for the African-American community, especially with the history of when Texas found out, the slaves in Texas found out that we were, air quote, free. Some people are still debating how free we are. But we did a Queen's Juneteenth celebration in my community, and we had organizations, business owners, clergy, families show up. And it made me really ponder what a lot of people are talking about, business. And when you think about entrepreneurship, does that fit with advocacy? So our show today is around advocacy and entrepreneurship. I have my thoughts on it. Serena has her thoughts on it, but we want to also hear your thoughts on it, because in such a time as this, there's some people that are really cautious about speaking up and speaking out because they're concerned about how it'll affect their business. And quite frankly, some people are concerned about how it'll affect their jobs. So they've been kind of silent or towing the line or just trying to be a little bit invisible, praying that all of the madness that we see happening goes away. But here's a memo. It's not going away.
It's not going away.
Here to stay. So I'm gonna kick it over to you, Serena, to give your thoughts before I go off on my rant, because you feel a rant coming. Like, is that my knee?
I feel it. Well, first of all, let me properly greet everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, it's so good to be here with you on this Monday. Hopefully the weather is holding up right where you are, and it's making you smile, even though we're still in the middle of a pandemic. In terms of today's topic, I actually love this topic because the first thing that comes to mind for me is the idea that everyone says, never forget where you come from. Don't forget where you come from. And so I remember my girl who had polio, and even though I was young and I'm a kid, I used to have to give her my arm. You remember when old people, you were the king, they would either hold you, they would hold your hand, they'd be like, baby, sit still so I can walk with you. Or I would give her my arm to help stabilize her. Well, I did not realize what that did to me then. But now I don't have any disabilities. My children don't have any disabilities. But everything I do, I make sure it's just automatically in my head. Oh, wait a minute. If someone's in a wheelchair, can they get up here? If someone's on crutches, is this easily accessible for them? And so I know that that's a small example, but I carry each and everything that I've had with me throughout my life, be it someone is an elderly individual or someone has a disability, or someone like my father who was labeled EMR, educable mentally retarded. Those things help shape how you do and how you see your business. I mean, honestly, my father is a reader, but there are times where if the words are too big or too small or whatever, he can't really make them out. Those type of things help me shape how I write potentially my menu, how I write my books, how I word certain things. And so again, I think the biggest thing is never forgetting where you've come from. Like, I have never outgrown walking slow enough to make sure an elderly person can hang on. And you stand out, see some moving slow, or it's kind of dragging. It's like, oh boy, do I need to offer help? Let me stand close by. Let me make sure they're going to be okay. So don't ever forget your experiences, even if they've come from childhood, to help you shape how you do and conduct your business today.
That's a great point, Serena. And when you talk about the memories, I had quite a few flooding in. I'm even just thinking of a recent memory when my oldest sister suffered a stroke. Mm-hmm. And because of that, she's been in recuperation, and thank God she's doing so much better. We're over 7 years later, like I'm losing track, but mm-hmm. Thank God she can drive now. She can do some things on her own. But what it made me realize was that when I complained about a parking space, like, trying to sneak into the handicapped parking space, let me just tell the truth. Like, I was guilty of trying to find a way to go park there so that I could be closer and have greater access. But I have such a different empathy now when it comes to how I respect when they have those handicapped spaces, because she was able to get one because she really needs it. Right. And even, using the handicap stall in the bathroom, like things that we take for granted. And sometimes because of our inconvenience, we want to be able to, well, let me just use this, or why can't I? You have a different sort of empathy when you have dealt with, or someone you love has dealt with a situation, and you're like, wait, no, we need to protect their rights. We need to protect, the things that have been put in place for them. And that brings us to where we are now when we talk about advocacy on so many levels. I mean, Serena, I think most Black people right now are just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, we're tired of complaining. We're tired of repeating ourselves. We're tired of the trauma and being re-traumatized every time we see certain images. And we can't get weary in well-doing, right? No. Because in due season, we will reap. The blood of our ancestors has not been shed in vain, right? There's enough people coming to consciousness right now of the reckoning of the history of where we are. This didn't just pop up in 2020. unfortunately, we're saying the names of multiple new people, because we can't even say it's just George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor. Now we have Rashard Brooks. We have 4 or 5 others that have come up in the news, because this has been a consistent situation. So my prayer in all of this, because I still believe in prayer, and I still believe, as you believe, Serena, that out of all of this, God is birthing something new. And what's new is that we have to go back to the basics. Like, let's really talk about the experience of our people, and not just Black and brown people, the indigenous people of this land, who have been suffering just as much with how their lives have been marginalized in this society. So when you talk about advocacy, it's not just people getting angry and taking to the streets and fires and looting. We're not condoning looting, of course not. But people are at a tipping point, and that tipping point brings about change when you can just pause and acknowledge there's a problem. That's part of it. Like, if you're in an abusive relationship, step one is that there has to be some acknowledgement that something is wrong. If you're an alcoholic and you go to your AA meetings, you have to acknowledge that you're alcoholic. The acknowledgement and the lack of acknowledgement is what's fueling the continued frustration that we're seeing. And it's not a time where we can just opt out of being involved. From an empathetic human standpoint, understand that people have been suffering, that entrepreneurship and advocacy have to go together at this time, because there's some financial disparities. COVID-19 has raised attention to the health disparities, the education disparities. There's so many different things going on. So we're talking about advocacy and entrepreneurship because this is a way that if you're not marching on the front lines, there's no judgment, but you can support a Black business.
Absolutely.
You can support those who haven't had access to the capital that other communities have had access to in order to create legacies. That's the real talk that we're having. And it's the brave people that are going to be able to have that talk. It's the brave people that are going to try to educate themselves. I'm so encouraged by my white friends and colleagues that have said, look, I started digging and doing my own history. I started going back and reading up on some of the statistics. They're not even focused on the emotion of it. They're going straight to the statistics in the books on what has happened to Black and brown people. I said, well, Jesus, something new is happening in this land. And yes, nothing comes to fruition with pain, a little bit of provocation, and a little bit of irritation. But if we can press through it, we'll be able to recreate a new narrative and a new reality. And those who are trying to stop it, let me be one of them, the first to tell you, it's not going to be
over. Yeah, just move out the way. move out the way. Progress is coming. You know, and you mentioned, I love that you mentioned it. Yes, some of our white brothers and sisters who are just as passionate as we are these days. You know, the funny thing is, I was talking to my brother Patrick Brown, and the sad reality for some of us brown people who have been going through this for a long time is we've gone through it so much, we're kind of desensitized. So then it's like, oh wait, we're gonna march? Oh, okay, let's go march. Let's go do something. But when I went to my marches to see, I found myself telling people who didn't look like me, telling them, thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. Thank you for bringing your daughter. And I mean, this one lady with tears in her eyes said, this has got to stop. She said, I thought this was just on TV. I thought it was just your sitcom. And she said, just like you just said, I did my research. And yes, the numbers are unbelievable. And she apologized to me that she had been quiet for this long. And so, yes, even if you cannot go and march, even if that's not necessarily your thing. For instance, I have a restaurant, as you all know, I have a soul food carry-out restaurant. So my mission has always been just to make sure people have something to eat. Of course, I'm in the business to make money. But when I can notice that someone doesn't have the money and they're hungry, oh, baby, come on in here, get something to eat. It's on the house. We'll figure it out. We'll figure the finances out. Stacie, I can't even tell you how many meals I've given away, but it's upwards of a couple thousand. I don't say it to brag. I am just grateful that we're still being sustained. We're still being successful right in our little corner. And, you know, and you talk again about advocacy. Well, I remember my father, Les Brown, he talked about being hungry growing up. He talked about using water for his cereal. He made sure, he said, I never want y'all to ever have to experience the hunger that I went through. He said, I never want you to sit down at a table and watch everyone else eat and watch your mother eat last, because she had to make sure that there was enough food to eat. So you think of how we have been taught and trained and developed. And I even look at, why do I care about feeding the community so much? Because I remember what that was like. I remember what it was like hearing it. I remember how emotional he would get recalling the stories as we're sitting down to big tables of food. And he would say, baby, I remember when I couldn't do this.
Mm.
Cry.
You're making me tear up on that one. That's so real. Like, you know, our ancestors went through so much, no matter where we were in the diaspora, right? There's no separation of our experience. And hey, Greg, thank you so much. He said compassion. And that's definitely important. We need more compassion. Right. But what we need to realize now is we can't get caught up in the distractions, because there are a lot of distractions that are going on right now. We need to focus on the fact that there are multiple layers that we need to attack. Can they all be focused on at the same time? That's up for debate. But we need to just make sure we're all bringing our issues to the table and we're not drowning out each other's noise and voices. What we're doing is being collaborative. Let's show compassion in what we're raising to the forefront, because now we have everyone's attention. Now everybody is listening. Now big brand companies are celebrating Juneteenth and giving people a day off. Now people are being more conscious on their advertising. Now people are saying, oh, who's sitting in the C-suite? Do we have enough Black and brown representation? So people are now.
High five to Mississippi. High five. Listen, that's major for this weekend, for them to redo their flag. I mean, that flag has been offensive forever and ever and ever. Forever. Forever.
400 plus years. And you see, this is the power of advocacy. So I think, to your point earlier, some people have gotten desensitized with, oh, they're protesting again. Oh, they're walking again. Thank God for the people who never stopped, right? Yeah, thank God for those who kept raising and shouting from the rooftops about the injustices that have been happening. I want to look up this film that I caught with my husband. I asked him to text it to me so that I don't forget. And it's on Amazon Prime. I don't know if you saw it, Serena, but it says, I Am Not Your Negro.
I did not, but it's on my to-do list.
Oh my goodness. The way they captured the content for this show, I won't spoil it. You just need to see it. White, Black, brown, indigenous, everybody needs to see it, because they touch on the history of what we see has come to a head. And that particular movie hurt my heart, because I'm listening to the same words over 40, 60 years ago, over 100 years ago, the same words, the same thing that we're seeing, that we thought we were moving in a direction where it would finally be over. But here we are. And I don't want to get emotional just recalling what I watched in that show, but I said, Amazon needs to give me some money to promote it, because I only caught the last portion. I'm going to go back and view it from the beginning. But I was so emotional when I went to sleep. And my prayer was, God, help me, help Serena, help Tamara, help everybody that I work with, that I know, to listen to how you're helping us raise our voices. Because advocacy and entrepreneurship go hand in hand. I run my Destiny Designers University, but I was on the front lines with community, with millennials, creating this Queen's Juneteenth protest rally and march. And when I say it was such an overwhelming blessing to see the way community came out, Serena, businesses, a restaurant just like yours, who had to pivot to takeout. She said, girl, I got you. I'm going to create some grab and go so that you can have that on the march. Other businesses started coming out as we were walking down a main boulevard in Queens, New York. I saw grown men with tears in their eyes, because we've had a lot going on in New York City, but particularly in the borough of Queens, we've had smaller marches and demonstrations, but this was a major one, coming down almost 3 miles and coming through the commercial district on a main boulevard. I saw little kids looking and waving, and the tears were just welling in my eyes, because these babies who haven't even been formed yet are looking around trying to understand, Why? Because I'm brown, because I'm considered black or brown, that something is wrong with me. And to see the car horns honking, because we were saying honk for justice, it was such a sight, even with the weather, because it was sprinkling a little bit. Sun would come in and out, and a block away from our destination, the skies opened up. And what I said, even in my social media post, that's our ancestors, Serena, just bursting with tears. They couldn't hold the tears anymore because they're just so full that we haven't given up the fight, that their lives weren't lost in vain, that their struggle was not forgotten, that we're not going to give up until we get justice. We're not going to give up until we can create a new reality for what we're living in. Our poor baby. Can you imagine these little kindergartners, preschool, elementary, and high school, what they're witnessing now?
Oh, yeah.
Jesus, they don't get to our age and we're still talking about this. Change has to happen now. So advocacy and entrepreneurship, in my opinion, it has to go together.
It has
just
to
do it.
It has to. Yeah, it has to. I love every single point you made, and it made me think about when I marched here and I had my children, and I thought, now we would have stage marches when I was growing up. We would have a Martin Luther King breakfast, and we would do all of that. But this time, I said, this is for real. This is not a rehearsal. This is for real. The fact that I had to coach them on, if you hear something, if you see something, this is where we're going to run and meet to, just in case something gets out of line. When they laid on their stomach for 8 minutes and 46 seconds with their arms behind their back, and the fact is, they said they couldn't breathe, and someone's knee wasn't on their neck. It was just the weight that was on their little ribs. And so to think I could not believe that. I looked and I said, I can't believe this is for real. Like, this is not a drill. This is not for kicks and giggles. This is for real. And so thankfully now, yes, things are changing. We are getting hopefully police reform in several cities throughout the country. And so we have to keep marching on. When you look at quotes by James Baldwin, who said, and I know I'm going to have to paraphrase, when you're basically awake, it's hard not to be in a state of shock every time, you turn around. So then the minute you want to get mad, then we're reminded what Martin Luther King said, which said, hate is too much of a burden to bear. So, we're so torn emotionally, and then we have to keep our word right at hand to know that he will never leave us nor forsake us, or, all of the stuff that kept us emotionally grounded, where our generation, we were able to navigate as much as we could until we only could come to a head. So again, they go hand in hand without question. I'm fighting back tears because
so am I. I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to hold, and it's okay. Like I keep telling people all the time, you're going to have some moments when the tears are just flowing. Because it's our reality. It's what we're living. And so many people thought that because we elected a black president, that United States of America had healed all of this racial divide. That's farthest from the truth. And that actually ignited the ignorance even more, because they were so upset that it happened, that we had the audacity to elect our first African-American president. And then we have our own folks who have issue with what he could have done. He had to be the president for everybody. So I am just really hoping that businesses out there, when we talk about advocacy, what little you have, share, right? Everybody's in a place right now where you're regrouping, you're figuring out. Some people got assistance and loans, some people didn't. Some doors are shut, some people are on furlough. Some people need creative things for their kids to do over this summer break. So there's things that you can do along the lines of advocacy, because advocacy means that you're fighting for equal access and opportunity across everything. And we know that, yes, they're good law enforcement across the country. This is not an indictment on them, but it is an indictment on that shield and blue wall of protection that's been up, that has given life to what we're seeing and the treatment that we're seeing. So that's what needs to be changed, because there is a systemic problem. This is not just new. If you trace everything that has happened in the country, how it's happened, how police were formed, what they were formed to do, what they were out. It's just so much. But I'm hoping that businesses look at what you can do, similar to what Serena's doing, similar to what I'm doing. I put my money and invested in helping to underwrite the cost for this march and rally. I use my voice and my platform to help bring up the issues that are important. There's something that everyone can do. Maybe it's you can stay on a prayer line and pray. Let's not discount what needs to be done. There's so much work to do. Your business, your product. We had people that were donating gift cards and thank yous to the organizers of the march. It publicized their business, but it was their way of participating. We had organizations who set up census tables and voter registration, because if you're marching and you're chanting and you're not getting counted in the census and you're not registered to vote, then go home. Ain't no need for you to be out there, right? Because we need to make sure that we're moving forward with what is going to effectuate change in our community. So advocacy and entrepreneurship have to walk hand in hand to a new normal, that we're creating new jobs, that we're talking about shared economies where we can all invest in how we move. There's so much that's available, and there's still so much to be hopeful for in the midst of everything that we're seeing. But we have to, as they say, get your mind right so that we can make the right choices. Hey, Roz, thank you for joining in. And Greg was quoting James Baldwin as well. So clearly I'm fired up for numerous reasons today.
Well, you ought to be. I know you guys probably said it here, fired up and ready to go. And so let's not lose our fire. Let's not let it die out for any reason. Let's keep the momentum going. And again, I cannot stress enough, and I know Stacie shares the same sentiments. We thank everyone who's brave enough to come out. It's not even a Black issue anymore. We think our other folks, our other brothers and sisters of other nationalities that are coming out and risking. You guys are also risking a lot, risking your business, risking advocating on our behalf. But we appreciate the idea that you are in the trenches with us, and it would not be possible without you all. So thank you. It's been a tough cause, girl. You make a tear fall, I'm gonna have to come get you.
I've been holding back 2-3 tears up in my eyes right now, because this is our reality. And one thing about Dream Do Done, you know that we keep it 100% real and transparent, because you can't talk about growing your business and your personal economy if you're not working on growing yourself. Mm-hmm. So there are moments and times when our show is going to focus on what we see happening in real time. And this is the reality of where we are in this country right now. But I'm hopeful. Serena, I'm so hopeful. When I see the passion with these young people that I had the pleasure, a few I knew prior to going into this endeavor, and I collected some more. You know, I collect my babies, and I am just so impressed with their level of excellence, with their passion, and they're not letting this go. They're like, no more, not on our watch. It's going to change, and it's going to change now. And I really want to see the elders, from the baby boomers to Gen, what are we, X, Y, Z, I don't know, the millennials, and whoever. What are you?
I think I'm Y.
You're Y, so maybe I'm X.
Okay.
So, whichever one, but each generation has to pour into the next generation, learn from the wisdom of the elders, understand the present reality of those who are the professionals in the moment, and give space for the young millennials to come up, so that we're continuing the legacy of leadership. We're honoring the past. Somewhere along the line, some things got a little jumbled, but here we are in 2020, and we all need to be on one accord with multiple issues to raise. I'll give everybody that, but be on one accord with how we respect each other's voices and how we work together, now that we have the attention and the ear of those who have the capacity to change policy, to change laws, to change the way we interact and deal, and to break the systemic racism that has been a part of the fabric of this country since its inception. So there are many ways to do it. We're not going to sit and debate which way we should go. What we're going to say is that everybody needs to have their voice heard so we can find a new way forward. And your business being viable, your business being cash flow positive, is a part of advocacy. So doing the work that we need to do, and Dream Do Done giving you that support of accountability, so you can get your house in order, so that you can come to the table with the resources and the capacity to move our communities where they need to be. So make sure you visit us at dreamdodone.com. We're getting ready to finally unveil some things that we've been working on. And the truth is, we've had so much going on in our individual businesses. We had to take a pause so that we can make it available for you, because we want to be able to support you on your journey. And we also want to give you an opportunity to invest in yourself. So make sure you stay tuned to dreamdodone.com. So thank you for being here. I know this show went fast and furious. because I'm still on fire. You know what was so amazing? Somebody caught a picture of me in action because we had so many, reporters and people on the mic with my hands up. I was like, oh, Lord, I was looking at the wings down here. I was like,
no, you focused
that picture.
you focused on the wrong thing. That was a powerful fist in the air. I saw the picture. You were still cute, and you had a powerful fist in the air, and you were making it happen. So it's all good. You look fantastic.
Thank you. I was like, I wasn't even concerned. I was so focused in that moment and the power and the energy that we were able to bring to our community. And I just want to say, shout out to Southeast Queens, New York. We did it peacefully. We did it respectfully. Good. And we raised our voices. We let everyone who had to bring a word or their view, whether we agreed or not, because I know some people were like, what do they say? I'm like, this is not the time for that. Everybody got to speak. That's our therapy. We got to get it out. Right. And of course, we had some fun, and there was some music. Shout out to DJ Zeke, one of my sons I've adopted, who's just amazing and just added this next level to our experience. And to have my own husband and children there. My son was my little bodyguard. Lord have mercy. The oldest one. I'll pray my strength.
I love you. Have a handsome gang that love their mama and their wife, and that was no proper English at all.
But it truly was just a joy to see what's possible when you work together. And I do want to thank NYPD. They escorted us down. The 105th and the 113th precinct. It's not easy when you're trying to do the right thing and everybody's screaming, defund the racist police. You're like, but you are part of a system. So I just want anyone in law enforcement to understand, because I have people in my family, extended family. Mm-hmm. So I would never say that everybody is doing the wrong thing, but those racist police that have caused this problem, they need to go.
They have, without question, no paperwork, no red tape with the paperwork. You got to go. You got to get prosecuted. You got to serve your time. All of it. All the above.
Period. So this has been a great show.
Yeah, this has been more than fun, more than enlightening. Of course, it's always emotional, but I believe that we will still continue this journey. It's not over.
Amen. It's not over. Dream, do, done. There's the dream stage. You got to actually do something. And that's what we're doing right now when we talk about merging advocacy and entrepreneurship so that we can get it done. And we want to be in the driver's seat of the economic decisions. That's where you will hear my voice. That's my advocacy point. That's where I'll be standing on, because until we get access to the same amount of capital and resources, there's limited things that we can do as businesses to participate in the reconstruction of what this country and this world will look like. So God bless you all. Stay safe. The coronavirus is still out here. We had on our masks. We were socially distant. We had our sanitizers, because that is taking us out in our community because of these disparities. So please be careful. Go get your seagrass, your sea moss, your vitamin D, your vitamins, because everyone is talking about the second wave. Whether there's a second wave, no wave, third wave, we have to take care of ourselves. And that's another reason why I have more energy. Serena, I did a 5K this morning. I'm trying to get my collar.
Listen, it's gonna pop out right in time for Faithpreneur weekend.
Exactly. Well, I love you, sis. On behalf of Tamara, Hartley.
All right.
DreamDoDone.com. We'll be back next week for another episode of Dream Do Done, 1-ish every Monday afternoon.
All right. Take care, sis. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.